Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about all the players that you guys need to keep an eye on for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 9 matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks. So guys, without further ado, let's talk about it. First couple of guys I'm going to mention, and I'm going to mention them every single week until I see, some form of improvement on that side of the offensive line, and that is DeMar Dodson, Earl Watford, and maybe Alex Kappa, depending on whether or not he plays. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not as mad at Earl Watford and Alex Kappa. I think that they've done a pretty solid job overall. Earl Watford, he's had his, not so great moments, but I think he's also had his really, really good moments as well. I think he's filled in very well for Alex Kappa once Kappa broke his arm. Still DeMar Dodson, I still gotta say, and I've been saying this week in and week out, I feel like all season, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but he has been struggling this year. He really has. He came back last week, I believe, was his first week back, and he just continued to look like the DeMar Dodson we've seen the entire year with the penalties and the not so great blocking. I think the right tackle position has really been a problem for the Buccaneers this year in terms of pass blocking, run blocking, penalties, discipline. The right tackle position has probably been the worst on the Buccaneers offense this year, and DeMar Dodson, Josh Wells, whoever it's been, they haven't been doing a great job. So I'm going to keep on saying it week in and week out. Keep your eye on DeMar Dodson because, he's been struggling this year, and I'm waiting for him to bounce back, and I'm waiting for him to improve, and really come back to the DeMar Dodson that we've seen in years past, do some good things, but we're running out of time, and I really don't know if we're going to see it this year. So, just keep an eye on DeMar Dodson. Keep an eye on that right side of the Buccaneers offensive line. They're going to have some tough matchups ahead of them. Guys like Jadeveon Clowney, that guy's an absolute monster of a pass rusher, which, does not make DeMar Dodson's job any easier. I know that, but he is still a very long-tested veteran in this league. He should be playing better. So keep an eye on the right side of the offensive line, especially, if Kappa goes or not. If he does go, still keep an eye on him and how he bounces back from his injury. If he doesn't come back in the game, well, definitely pay attention to Earl Watford and DeMar Dodson in this game versus Seattle. Next thing I want to talk about is the wide receiver core, specifically every wide receiver who is after Mike Evans and after Chris Godwin on the depth chart. This includes guys like Breshad Perriman, who a lot of people are surprised is still on the roster right now. And I will say, I've been very disappointed in Breshad Perriman this year, especially with how much love and hype I gave him in the offseason whenever the Buccaneers initially signed him. So far, he has not done a whole lot to make a significant impact. So keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Justin Watson. Keep an eye on Scotty Miller. And keep an eye on Amara Darboh. And, the reason I say all of these guys together is because so far this year, these guys have not been able to get involved in the offense. And I don't know if that is play calling. I don't know if that's just a matter of these guys not being good enough to get opportunities. But the point is that these guys have not been able to do a lot this year. The Buccaneers' third best receiver right now in terms of yardage is O.J. Howard with 176 yards. We are in week 9, and you mean to tell me that a third best receiver on the team can't get at least 176 yards? That's crazy to me. That is absolutely crazy. So Breshad Perriman, Scotty Miller, Justin Watson, even Amara Darboh, I'm going to throw him in there as well. These guys need to start, getting opportunities, and they need to start, really making an impact on the game, because once you get a more balanced passing attack, it makes things a whole lot easier, because right now, defenses are just going to say, well, as long as we double up Mike Evans and as long as we double up Chris Godwin, we really don't have a lot to worry about in terms of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, and that's not good. You need more balance. You need more guys to get involved, and they've tried, to get the ball to guys like Scotty Miller and Breshad Perriman. It just hasn't worked so far. They haven't been able to catch the ball. They've been running not so good routes. So, we need to see improvement from this Buccaneers wide receiver core, and it echoes some stuff that I talked about earlier on in the season where I said, after Breshad Perriman, I didn't have a lot of confidence in this Buccaneers wide receiver depth chart moving forward, and now, hey, you can even include Breshad Perriman on this list. list. So after Mike Evans, after Chris Godwin, you have a huge question mark right there in terms of your wide receiver depth chart. Justin Watson's not even seeing the field for some reason on the offensive side of the ball. He's mainly been a special teams guy. It just seems like Jameis Winston doesn't have a great chemistry with both Scotty Miller and Brashad Perriman. And Amara Darboh, he is still getting acclimated to the offense. We could even see him get a little bit more used in this upcoming game versus the Seattle Seahawks. It is a revenge game for Amara Darboh, so who knows? Maybe they'll get him more involved in the slot. Maybe Amara Darboh will be, the shining player of the game. We will have to wait and see. But, the wide receivers after Mike Evans and after Chris Godwin, huge question mark. See, which guys get involved and how much they get involved and how they run their routes, and just really pay attention to the guys after Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, because in my opinion, it's a big question mark as right now as to who is going to make an impact or if these guys are going to make an impact at all. Next group of guys I want to talk about is the secondary. And again, much like DeMar Dodson, much like, the right side of the Buccaneers offensive line, I feel like I've mentioned the secondary every single week this season. And, for good reason. The secondary has struggled this year. And it hasn't been a fun thing to watch. And Bruce Arians has been adamant about it. Todd Bowles has been adamant about it. The secondary needs to improve. And they've been saying it week in and week out. And it just seems like stuff isn't clicking for some reason. I will say, me personally, I think that, for example, Carlton Davis, I think that Carlton Davis has had a really good year this year. People are going to disagree with that, but I really think that he's playing the exact way that Todd Bowles wants him to play and Bruce Arians wants him to play as well. Also, I think Sean Murphy-Bunting is getting better every single week, but you still have your struggles there. I will say Vernon Hargreaves, he has struggled this year. MJ Stewart has struggled this year, and that's been a problem, okay? So we need to see the secondary improve, just continue to improve. I think that last week versus the Tennessee Titans, they really got some stuff going, and I know it's a run-heavy kind of offense in Tennessee, but I really do think that they got some stuff going. They got a little bit of their confidence up. You still have some awesome pieces there. I can't say that enough. Jordan Whitehead's been playing good. Andrew Adams has been playing good. I think that Carlton Davis has a really bright future ahead of him, and he's been playing good this year. And then also Sean Murphy-Bunting, I think he has a bright future ahead of him as well. I think the problem with the secondary, a lot of it has to do with communication problems and guys being out of place and guys not doing the proper technique. If you were to ask Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles, that'll be the first thing that they'll tell you is that, the secondary's technique has been off and the lack of communication has been there as well. So keep an eye on the secondary. Again, much like the wide receiver core, they're running out of time now to, get things going in terms of communication and technique. So pay attention to guys like Vernon Hargreaves, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, maybe even Jamel Dean gets some more playing time. Keep an eye on him because Tyler Lockett is definitely a speedy wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. So you would figure, maybe the Buccaneers put their fastest cornerback on, Seattle's fastest wide receiver. So maybe Jamel Dean gets some more playing time just to kind of shake some things up in the secondary. And then also pay attention to Jordan Whitehead and Andrew Adams and even Mike Edwards, who's kind of been a little bit quiet these past few weeks. He's been, kind of getting less and less playing time with Andrew Adams playing better and better. So keep an eye on the secondary, keep an eye on who's playing the most and who's got, covering well, and, just keep an eye on the secondary as a whole. Finally, the last group of guys that I want to talk about in this video is the tight end group. Now, O.J. Howard is out for this game again. This is the second game in a row that O.J. Howard is going to be out, and that is not good. That's not good at all. That's very unfortunate. Cameron Brate, I believe, is also a little bit dinged up. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comment section below, as always. But with O.J. Howard being out for the second game in a row, the Buccaneers did promote tight end Jordan Leggett from the practice squad to the active roster. So shout out to you, Jordan Leggett. That's actually awesome. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Leggett going all the way back to training camp in the preseason and whatnot. So right now, your tight end group consists of Cameron Brate, Anthony Auclair, Tanner Hudson, and Jordan Leggett. Now, I don't expect Jordan Leggett to be active for this game. Probably, depending on how Cameron Brate comes along with his injuries and whatnot. But still, you still have a tight end group that has a lot of intrigue to it. Maybe all four guys play. I have no idea. But, again, much like what I talked about with the wide receiver core, we need to see these tight ends get more involved in the passing game. They can all catch the football. We've seen it before. Cameron Brate, top 15 pass-catching tight end in the NFL, in my opinion. Anthony Auclair, we've seen him do some really good things in the passing game in the past couple of years. And Tanner Hudson, he's been an all-star in training camp and preseason this year, and, he made the roster for a reason is essentially what I'm trying to say. So we need to see more of the tight end group involved in the passing game as well. Again, a lot of that can be chalked up to pass, calling and whatnot, and maybe just not getting the guys involved due to the types of plays that you're calling. But I still think you need to get these guys involved. The more balance you have in your passing attack, the more things that I think will work out better for Jameis Winston and just the Buccaneers offense as a whole. You don't become as one-dimensional in terms of your passing offense. So, definitely want to see these guys involved. Also, not just pay attention to them as receiving guys, but also pay attention to them in their blocking. Bruce Arians has talked about it, since he came to the team, of the tight ends need to block, the wide receivers need to block. This team needs to be good at blocking, and we've seen that time and time again this year from the tight ends where they have struggled a little bit. So keep an eye on them moving forward in all aspects of their game. Guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments section below. What are some of the players and position groups that you guys are going to be keeping an eye on in this upcoming game versus the Seattle Seahawks? Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Again, can't say it enough. I hope you all enjoyed. And in the next video, I will be having the official preview of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchup versus the Seattle Seahawks. But guys, until that video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.